Chapter 14. Pine Mountain. One muggy morning, just before the dawn, Red rubbed his weary eyes and moaned a yawn. The rough, uneven porch below his feet would squeak awake, then fall right back to sleep. The air was oddly still and lay in rest, as if the earth itself had held its breath. But not the crickets, every chirp a wish to glowing stars, haloed by the mist. Aromas from the kitchen, rich and rough, had trailed him, lifting from his coffee cup, in scented steam as thick as campfire smoke, that smelled like roasted brew and burning oak. Red sipped his coffee, stretched his tightened back, then took another slurp of bitter black. He groaned, settling in his rocking chair, while Boone approached the man with measured care. Boone gently nosed the halfway open door and walked with clicking nails upon the floor. Red saw the dog did not feel welcomed yet, and so he said, "'S all right. Come here. No need to fret." Boone couldn't hide the joy within his tail. He sprang with giddy paws that kicked and flailed, hitting the coffee cup that Red was holding. A scalding splash. "Dadgum!" His eyes were scolding. Red flicked the coffee from his hand and wrist. He underbit his jaw and balled his fist, then stood up tall. "I ought to cross your eyes." Boone sank his head and ears to shrink his size. The rusty hinges on the front door's frame seemed to call to Red and creak his name. There Clancy stood, his hair clumped in a heap, with heavy lids still clinging on to sleep. He said, "It awful early, ain't it, Pa?" "The rooster's calling you from off the straw." "Ain't heard no rooster yet, but heard me something." "Go get your rifle, boy. We's going hunting." They hunted in the densely wooded hills that looked like shoulders on a bulky build below Pine Mountain's rounded granite head. Its stony gaze looked down on all who'd tread. The ground beneath the trees was spongy, soft, and carpeted by needles, leaves, and moss, which held the moisture lifting morning fog that veiled the ready hunters and their dog. Ascending from the mist in morning dark were fragrances of pine and sappy bark. The birds were quiet, the trees were tame, no chittering of squirrels, no signs of game. Red stopped to rest and rubbed his aching knee. He said, "With all this fog, can't hardly see." But Clancy said, "Old Boone'll find them deer. His nose is gooder than an eye or ear." "Even the best of noses ain't no gun. I reckon I need to see it to shoot it, son. Keep walking. Need to get to higher ground. Can spot a whitetail best by looking down." "I know a real good spot. It this-a-way. But it uphill a bit. Your knee okay?" Red glared at Clancy like the thing he asked had been an insult that the question masked. "I mean, ain't gotta go if it done hurt." But Red replied, "Just hope the old thing worked. Don't fuss about me, it's just a rattly joint." The boy commanded Boone, "Fox Point!" Boone sprinted up the rocky path with ease, his nose a compass, snaking through the trees. To Boone it seemed like Red and Clancy crept, with labored breathing, slow and careful steps. No words, conserving energy and air, while they ascended rocks and roots like stairs. Boone was waiting as they reached the top. His tail was wagging high, his tongue was dropped. Red hung his hat, one hand upon his thigh, and spat some thick saliva off the side. Then he removed his hat, and with his sleeve he mopped his brow, his neck cooled by the breeze. When Clancy called, "Hey, Pa, come on and sit," he spat again and wiped his beard a bit. His boots were all but dragged upon the stone, until he sat as in his chair at home. Red asked, This here's Fox Point, huh? Nice spot. He gazed. Up here a man can see a lot. Red rubbed his leg again. This gold-darn knee. Before he saw the carving in the tree. Clancy said, Them letters Jake had carved. The F and P stood out like graying scars. Red said, I remember when he told the story, as if to save a fox would bring him glory. I never would have let the rascal go. But Jake was different than any man I know. Red gaped across the lush expanse of land, peering southward. Jake was quite a man. Red kept on looking south, a sea of green, beyond Lake Allatoona, beyond what's seen. Red asked, I ever tell you about Savannah? No, sir. I worked a week down in Atlanta. Thought I left home for good. And went down south. A tater farm they called Gift Horse's Mouth. Sweet potatoes mostly. Ate so many, it turned my stool as copper as a penny. The bunkhouse stunk of farts and sweat sock stew. The bed was lumpy as a tater, too. The boys I bunked with loved to play some cards. They ain't the kind of boys you want as pards. They'd speak of deeds they'd done. The dark run deep. I'd lay there quiet. They'd drink theyselves to sleep. Y'all say I snore bad? These boys was worse. Snored like some corn-fed hogs about to burst. I'd think of home. At night is when the time weighs. Regretting how my paw and me got sideways. He rode me rough. I couldn't take no more. I said some awful things and slammed the door. Was just a stupid kid without no sense. A thankless dog that dug out of the fence. Truth was, I missed him. Missed him every night. I even missed the smell of his old pipe. And gall, I miss my brothers awful bad. Forgetting all them scuffs we ever had. And Sis, that girl's always had my heart. It hurt so gold-darn bad to be apart. The sadness wore me. Didn't last a month. Been having that same feeling in my gut. Missing Jake. It's just like missing home. Got folks all around. Feeling all alone. That homesick feeling ain't for any place. Homesick's for people. People you can't replace. Boone softly keened a whine and cocked his head, as if he understood what Red had said. Clancy traced the letters Jake once drew, and said, My gut is awful homesick too. Y'all was quite the pals, and Clancy nodded. He tried to swallow, but his throat was knotted. Extended silence helped him gain his words. He said, Bet coming back took lots of nerves. Did Pawpaw cuss a storm and chap your hide? No. And now I know exactly why. Nothing I wouldn't give to bring back Jake. Your Pawpaw met me before I hit the gate. He hugged me tight. Might be the only time. He paused, then said, The one time in my life. Boone keened again and nudged Red on the shin, then stood alert, facing the eastern rim. Red grabbed his gun, believing Boone had found some whitetail or a fox had come around. Clancy sprang at once and followed Boone, but Red was not as agile as the two. His legs got moving as excitement rushed, and he surveyed for movement in the brush. Just then a drum of thunder rumbled low, as if a stomach grumbling for the dough. The man leaned in to peer between the pines, as charcoal clouds engulfed the eastern sky. He lumbered through the brush that grabbed at legs until he reached the mountain's eastern edge. The swelling clouds that flickered bolts within were pushing forth and kicking up a wind.
No wonder why my knee is acting up, and there's no critters out for us to hunt. I hate to leave with nothing in my hand, but storms like this don't stop for any man.